Okay, today we're going to be stringing a Babolat Pure Drive, and first time for a new color today. I'm going to be using this lavender color. I'm anxious to use it. It's the same Yonex PolyTour rev that I've been putting in a lot of the rackets, only in an orange color. I got white and lavender now, so got one person that is going to try the lavender color. And anxious to see what it looks like. Looks pretty cool. So we'll go ahead and get the two inside mains, get the string all measured out here the same length for each side, and we'll get busy doing the mains. I think this string would look good paired with another color as well, either a white or something else to accent it, like a blue or whatever. Some of you are just starting to see some of my videos. And one of the things that I do as I'm putting in the mains, when I get to the fifth main from the center, I always turn the clamps to the inside, which gives me more room to run the next mains through there. Otherwise, the other side of the clamp kind of crowds it. It's hard to feed the string through there. So I learned that over the years to rotate the clamps on the fifth main. Of course, with the bigger racket, it's not as much of a problem, but anything 100 square inch or smaller, you gotta, the economy of space in there when you're stringing them comes in critical. It's the same reason as I'm doing the crosses. As I come down the racket doing the crosses, I rotate the clamps to give myself more room to work underneath. I like this color. It looks pretty good. It should, obviously it's the same string as the PolyTour rev in the orange and the white. It's just a different color. It's the same string, so it should play identical. But you know, if you like the color and you feel good about it, that's part of it. So whatever works. there we go. That's the main. We get the clamps up here on the top end, ready for the crosses. It looks pretty good. Start the crosses by doing a double half hitch here to get them started. That way it'll hold the first time. Co-poly, sometimes if you don't use a double half hitch and you try and tension them, they'll slide through, so double half hitch will definitely hold it. And as I go through the crosses, I try after each pull to make sure that the strings that I've just finished are all nice and perpendicular with the ones above them. That way when I get down to the bottom, get to the end, I don't have to go back through the whole racket and square them all up. Does it take a little extra time to do it this way? Yeah, a few seconds, but it's not bad. And it saves the time at the end with having to mess around with it. I can basically, I'm done with this racket. At that point, I can take it off and put another racket on and get started. So it's one of those pay me now or pay me later type of things. And I just started doing it this way, so that works out good. With co-polys, it's a little bit more difficult to weave, so I end up having to work the strings over and under as I go across the racket. Your multi-filament strings, your guts, your synthetic guts and stuff, they're a little bit easier to weave with your fingers. Co-poly being a little stiffer is hard to do that. You can get a few of them in, but if I get halfway across, I lose the friction on my fingers and it makes it harder to weave them, so I just go over and under. It takes about the same amount of time. This is weaving and over and under to finish. And after 15 years of trial and error doing it that way, you know, you learn to do what saves you time and is most effective in the long run. Yeah, pretty good, pretty close there. After you go across the racket and you get the next string in, you can go back and square up the cross right before that. I'll show you what I mean after I pull this one through. When you tension this string, it kind of locks the one in front of it. Now you can move it and get it nice and parallel with the one in front. You can eyeball it. And my technique is to release the tension and the clamp, and then I take a look at it down, and that looks pretty good, right? Without having to make any adjustments. Sometimes you get lucky. Now I turn that clamp around and I give myself more room underneath to work with. As you get towards the throat of the racket, you get less and less room to have your hands under there working underneath with the string. So move the clamps around and get the clamp out of the way. It helps. So now I move that one up, clamp it off, release the tension, and I look to see, and that just needs just a little movement there. The rest of it looks pretty good. Pretty close. Now I have both clamps. I turn the other one around also. Now I have both clamps out of the way. More room to work underneath here. That's about it. For those of you that watch some of my stringing on YouTube, please, if you have any comments or any suggestions, I'm all ears, because you would think after 15 years and 5,000 or more rackets that you know about everything there is to know about stringing, but I'll tell you what, it seems like I encounter something new all the time. And if any of you see something that I'm doing that you think I could improve on or would help me, I'm all ears. Some of them, obviously, after a while, especially when you get down to the bottom end, to the throat end, they don't want to, after you tension them, they don't want to evenly space as well as they do at the top. And so you end up having to make more adjustments down towards the bottom. But I always figure if I can do a cross in about 30 to 45 seconds, that's about the average. You can get the mains or the crosses done in, about 15 to 20 minutes max. If I can do a racket in 20, 21, 22 minutes, that's moving along pretty good. So you'll be able to see how long this racket took me to string by the length of this video. And most of them are in the 20 to 22 minute range. If I go a little bit over, it's no big deal. If it took less than that, I guess I'm lucky. I don't try to break any time records. The main thing you're looking for is to do it right and do a good job for your customers, so there's no problems. Want everyone to be happy with. And if you got nice parallel and perpendicular strings, it all looks nice when they take delivery on it, then they're happy, and that makes me happy. Nothing like satisfied customers. I have 3 or 4 more left to go down here on the throat end and the crosses, and you'll see that when I get to the last 2 or 3, it's very difficult. There's not enough room in there to really do much weaving, so you have to kind of do one string at a time, or going over and under one string at a time. It takes a little bit more time, but there's not much of an alternative. I figure one of these days they're going to come out with a machine that does all this automatically. I hope I'm done stringing by then. I don't know if I'll be able to afford one. This machine, when I got it 10, 12 years ago or more, was expensive enough, and now the cost of new machines in this, quality of a machine is more than doubled in price. So I don't want to have to buy a new machine anytime soon. There we go. Now you'll see what I mean here in these last couple crosses down here at the bottom. There's just not enough room, so you gotta do each over and under individually, so to speak. This one starts over the top, and I just pull each through individually. It's almost like lacing a baseball glove, very similar. And I'll show you one other thing that I try and be very conservative with the string that I take off the reel. And so this is the amount of string, that's the amount of waste I have, maybe 3 or 4 inches total. So if you can minimize your waste over the course of 15 or 16 rackets, you save enough string where the last racket is basically free, because you've saved enough. Versus a 40-foot set of string, there's a lot of waste. I think it's better to buy reels. Okay, there she is. Well, that's what your racket looks like. Hope you like it.